Everyone has a story to tell. It's my mission to tell it. Unscripted, unedited, we are on the record.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this episode of On the Record. I'm Serena Fazan. On this show, we do love sharing inspiring stories from incredible people. And let me tell you, two of those incredible people are in our studio right now, Bernadette and Chris Pello. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us. Yes.
So you may recognize them because they're also on A Love in America, but we're going to share that story later. You guys actually started a school, the Livingstone School, and it's Livingstone Academy. Chris, why don't we start with you? Tell us about the program.
Yeah, so Bernadette and I started Livingstone Academy about 20 years ago. I was the principal of a traditional private school in Eastern Hillsborough County, and we had a small program for kids with learning disabilities. And especially back then, your private schools were for the high academic, high achieving kids. Nobody was really helping kids that struggled academically or had any disabilities. And so the school I was at had a small program for kids with learning disabilities. And if you went to any other private school in the area and said, my child has a learning disability, they're autistic, they have ADHD, they'd say, we can't help you, but call Chris Pello. He has a program and he can. Well, unfortunately, our program was so small, we could only take about 6 kids a year.
Wow.
And so we decided at that point that, there's a real need for a school to help struggling students academically. So we prayed about it, and we both resigned from our jobs. We took out a second mortgage on our home.
Oh my God.
We started 20 years ago with 4 of us on staff and 26 kids.
That is incredible. So Bernadette,
Yes.
at this point, you are working where? For a private firm or?
I was working in corporate America for a Fortune 500 staffing company. That's actually what brought us from New York to Florida.
So, okay. So I would imagine you have a good job.
I had a great job. I had a great job. I had been promoted several times, and my family thought we were crazy when I said I was resigning. I mean, good job, stability, and room for advancement.
So you both said too that you prayed about it. It's honestly giving me goosebumps. Yeah. So clearly then you have a lot of faith. So
yes,
faith played in this decision, and has it always played into the decisions you've made in your lives?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And faith wasn't always a part of our lives.
Right.
But when we moved to Florida, and we were raised in the Catholic Church, and we had a lot of understanding of who God is and who He is in our life. But I think as you get adults, you have children, I think faith becomes more important as you become older. And so obviously we turn to our faith for all of our decisions.
And I want to point something out. You both have a beautiful, 27-year-old son?
Yes.
A 27-year-old son, though, that's healthy, right?
Very.
Yes.
So I point that out because you're helping kids that might be disadvantaged,
Sure.
might need some help. So why is it wasn't even a personal experience that led to this?
Right. It wasn't somebody in our family, but because of the work that Chris did and the people that he had to turn away. So we have a great story you want to share about the mom.
Yeah, so one mom sitting across from me one year, and it was about this 7th or 8th family that I had turned away. And she...
Just that year.
Just that year. Mm-hmm. And she had seemed hopeless. She goes, we live here in Brandon all our lives. We go to an amazing church. We teach Sunday school. They have an academy that our daughter attends. And then through tears, she says, but they don't want my son. And that honestly broke my heart. Mm-hmm. And I said, what can we do for these kids that nobody wants? If they don't want them, we'll take them.
How old was your son at the time? Was he even born yet at this time?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so this was he was born in 94, so this was in 2003. So he's 9 years old at the time.
Mm-hmm. So he was 9 years old at the time. So is that also, like being a parent, is that what you both are also thinking about?
Well, sure, because it impacts you. Being a parent is hard enough, but then when your child has some issues, and a lot of parents don't know, where to find resources or what their options are. So it is really difficult for a parent.
Now, I have to say, honestly, the two of you are amazing. There are people that take action, they might donate, but the two of you then decide to again, quit your jobs,
Right.
and you take out a loan,
Yes.
a second mortgage.
Second mortgage to buy books and desks and hope.
And where was the school first started?
So we were actually pretty fortunate that one of the teachers at the school I was a principal of, she had a son with a learning disability, and her husband pastored a small church in Brandon. So we rented classroom space from her because the classrooms sat empty Monday through Friday. They used them on Wednesday nights for youth group and Sunday mornings. So we rented classroom space from her.
But then all of our office was done at our home in our third bedroom, turned it into an office. That's
Yes.
where our accountant met with us.
So we were pretty fortunate that Bernadette, with her the company that she resigned from, they asked her to stay on some contract
Do
work.
some projects.
So I ran the schools, and she would travel, do some contract work that first year. That really was obviously beneficial and helped us get through that first year. But second year, moving forward, we've grown exponentially every year since then.
Wow, so let me ask you though, was there a lot of red tape to get through to establish a school in the first place?
So normally there is, but this was just a favor that we had on us. I mean, you tell a story about the program that we had at the school.
So in the state of Florida, we're very, very fortunate
Yes.
that students with disabilities have scholarships available for them for tuition. And so we had those scholarships. John Kirtley started a program years ago. It's now Step Up for Students scholarship.
And who is John?
John
Kirtley?
is a local businessman that saw a need and did something about it.
We thank you, John Kirtley.
Yes, and so he started the state's largest scholarship program for kids from low-income families and for special needs, and it's a Step Up for Students. And so he saw a need and he did something about it. And so because our kids had scholarships available, it was easier for them to pay their tuition. But we had already had a contact at the Department of Education through that scholarship program. So when I called to explain this is what we want to do, they walked me right through the process and basically got approved in like 2 months.
Congratulations
unheard
on
of.
that. Yes, it sounds like
Yes.
it would be unheard of. But Chris, it must go to your background, right? Like how long had you been teaching school at
So
that point?
I've been in
And a principal,
education.
you
Yeah,
said.
I've been in education and athletics all my life. I was a high school basketball coach, an athletic director in upstate New York. Moved down here, took a job as a basketball coach and athletic director. And I think just growing up playing sports and coaching sports, I had an early access to some leadership. And my high school basketball coach, when I was a senior, I was the captain of the basketball team. And he had me coaching the elementary school kids on Saturday morning, so I got some leadership opportunities there. And I think just being a coach and a leader kind of just prepared us for this journey over the last 20 years.
Well, as Bernadette just said, and right, as a journalist, too, you come from corporate America.
Right.
What you did on the surface does sound unheard of.
Right, right.
To get through, again, the paperwork, the red tape. What about getting certified? Did you have to do all of that as well?
Yeah, so the state of Florida has obviously all compliance and annual
lot of
surveys
guidelines.
and a lot of guidelines that private schools have to meet. And so I obviously reached out to people that knew what they were doing in those areas. I had a really good understanding for being in education and being a principal on how the scholarships worked, how the annual compliance stuff worked. So I had a real good idea of how it all worked. It's just now doing it for us instead of for somebody
Right, right.
else.
So it started, and the first year, the blessing of you being able to do the contract
Right,
work
right.
as well. How many students did you initially begin with?
26 the first year.
26, yeah.
26. And in one building,
One
right?
building.
Is it still in one building?
No.
No, no.
I asked that question on purpose because I know it's not.
Yeah.
Sure. So we started with the 26 students, and there was 4 of us on staff. And now we have over 400 students, and there's 85 of us working.
Okay. Did you ever imagine
No.
that would happen all those years ago?
No. And every time that we started a new building, a new program, I'm like, this is the last one, because it has taken so much. And, to start up, It was us funding it again. You know, we took out the second mortgage the first time, and so then when it came time to expand, it was us personally doing it. We used our own cash again.
So,
but what really helped us out, though, is that we would grow to a place where we had a waiting list.
Yes.
And so we would expand a classroom. Then we'd expand a second classroom. Now we have one full school in one building. Well, now we have 70, 80 kids on a waiting list. They're all driving from Riverview.
A lot of them are
North
driving,
Brandon.
from Apollo Beach to Brandon to come
So
to our
then
school.
we said, well, let's start a campus in Riverview. So we took those waiting lists and says, if we start a campus in Riverview, will you come? They're like, yeah, we'll come.
wow.
And then 4 years later, we started an autism center because and that was pretty special. Our Seffner campus and our Riverview campus each had a small classroom for kids with autism.
Amazing.
And at that point, we said, our kids with autism need
need
more
more.
than just a classroom in the corner of our building. They need their own facilities, their own sensory gym. And so we had a wait list of kids to go to the Autism Center, and we did the same thing. We started the Autism Center in 2013 with 40 students. Now they have about 120 right now.
In what age, how does the school start at kindergarten and go up to high school, or what's the?
We go kindergarten through 12th grade, but it depends on the location. So our autism center is kindergarten through 8th grade. Our Seffner has our general ed high school, so that location goes 1st through 12th grade. Riverview goes to 8th grade. So our kids from Riverview that come to the high school, they get bussed over.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
So let's go to a break now because I want to talk more about the campuses and then the curriculum, and how you develop the curriculum and I'm sure there's plenty of plans for the future too. So stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back.
Precision Garage Store, this is Sophia. How may I help you?
It's the people who work here that make the difference.
That's what we're all here for, teamwork, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's why we're here for you today.
With one purpose:
If you need us, Precision is here for you.
to give their best to our customers.
We put out love and we get like 10 times back.
You get it coming back too.
Yeah.
We work for you. So thank you, Tampa Bay, for year after year making Precision Garage Door a top workplace.
Label Swap is a retail store that you can bring in the items you don't want anymore. We will buy them for either a cash offer or store credit, and you can also shop the items as well. We carry anything from H&M, Lululemon, up to your luxury items like Gucci and Louis Vuitton. There's nothing really around like it here in the market. It is a fun, personalized experience.
Coming in from LA, DJ Robbie Drums himself.
I love show days. I always have a huge smile on my face.
It's gonna be like
It's my absolute favorite day of the week.
What is it?
I'm Serena Fazan.
What is Bitcoin? What is blockchain?
Red House Streaming, powered by CPU Communications, is the home of my show, On the Record.
Thank you for joining us.
If you have a message and you want to get that message out there, streaming is the way to do it. Red House Streaming and CP Communications makes it possible for anyone to have a show, anyone to relay their message, whether you're an attorney, a doctor, a business owner, a journalist like myself.
I was on a show with Serena Fazan discussing various legal issues. And this institution has the ability to immediately produce content and high quality content. None of this looks like it's being produced at a budget. It's very professionally done.
We just had a production meeting the day before.
I think it's incredible. Like, the production facility here is amazing, and the quality level and the switchers and the cameras and the lights, and it's all done to perfection. So that's just amazing, just how simple and easy and fun and low stress.
That is fabulous.
Yeah. They make it so easy. Everything is done.
It was a great atmosphere, wonderful staff, very professional. First-class operation from beginning to end. I felt like I was a part of a family.
We're going to roll your hands around and up behind your head.
I would tell people if they're intimidated or afraid or nervous, don't be. Red House Streaming and CP Communications makes it so easy. Anybody can fulfill their dream of having a show if you want to.
Oh my gosh, can you do that again?
Dream it, shoot it, stream it. They have made my dream come true for sure. Welcome back to On the Record, everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm here with this amazing couple, Bernadette and Chris. I cannot believe, here you are, more than 20 years ago, you start a school to help. Tell us the type of children you help again, for people who are joining us late.
So all of our schools are specifically for students with unique abilities. And what that means is that they have some formal diagnosis of some type of learning disability. So they come to us with an IEP or a 504 plan. So that's the majority of the kids that we educate are those with unique abilities. And then we do have a group of students that might be from lower income families. They're on scholarship. They may not have a diagnosis, but their parents wanted them in a smaller environment where they can get a lot of academic support. So those are the students that we handle.
And so for those, again, who might just be joining us, Chris comes from an educational background. Bernadette from the corporate world.
Right, business.
Business world. So the funding of the schools used your own money, which is, gosh, I mean, thank goodness for people like you.
Thank you.
But how else, you said there's scholarships.
Right.
Are there private donations, or how else?
All of our students are on a scholarship. Let you talk about scholarships.
Yeah, so, back years ago, there was 1 or 2 scholarships when we first started, and then over the last 15, 20 years, the scholarships grew, and now they grew to so many that the state of Florida basically combined them again. So there's a handful of scholarships in the state of Florida. We're very fortunate that the state of Florida leads the country, I believe, in parental choice for education. And Governor DeSantis and the Florida Department of Education has done a fantastic job in giving parents the authority and giving parents the support to choose their own schools, giving them the resources, scholarships available for their kids. And so because Florida's big on school choice, that was a huge part in our growth, because a lot of parents, especially when we go through recessions or hard times, even during COVID, their scholarships were fully funded as long as they were in direct contact with their teachers. And so we were able to grow, I think, a lot quicker because tuition was available to these parents in scholarships, and we didn't have to just rely on private paid families to attend.
That says a lot about the state.
Yeah, it does.
And our educational system. Because I know sometimes, and we hate to say it, being on the record, sometimes Florida might get a bad rap for education. They might say the schools aren't as maybe as strong as some of the others, but it's great to hear that we also lead the nation in other programs as well.
Well, it's because we do not spend a lot of money on education. We're very low in the country for our per pupil spending, but we have options and choices.
And I think that was the best, because I know some people might say, I can't believe she said that. But, I mean, schools and our children are the most important. Our children are always the most important. So we're always focused on the kids.
And I think that, I remember hearing the superintendent at Hillsborough County Schools saying, for once I wish we were average. Because Hillsborough County per pupil spending is maybe about $4,000 or $5,000 below the national average.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's in funding. But what Florida does do with the funds that they get, they're at the top in the country for academic performances with the funding that we get. So they do a great job with what they have. They make the most of what they have.
So it's wonderful to know that there is a balance.
Right.
So when it comes to Livingstone Schools and Academy, the Academy, right, is celebrating a major milestone this year?
We'll be celebrating 20 years, yes.
Did you ever imagine all those years ago that you would be celebrating 20 years?
No, and I could not have imagined, I don't think either one of us could, how big we would have gotten, from renting our first location space, at a church, to now we have 4 locations in 2 of the buildings we own. So that was definitely something not on our radar way back then.
What are the plans? What are the plans now for the future?
So basically with Livingstone Schools, the 4 locations, we were going to maximize our enrollment. We have 2 high school programs. We have a high school program for students that will graduate with a 24 credit regular high school diploma. And then we have a high school program for kids with intellectual disabilities and Down syndrome. They'll get their access points diploma. For those students there, we're going to be starting a transition program next year for 18 to 22-year-olds that will prepare our young adults for life skills, some job placement skills for the lower functioning students with unique abilities. And then we're proud to announce that in September of this year, we're launching Florida Trade Academy, and it's a pre-apprenticeship program called Florida Trade Academy, and it's for any young adult that has a high school diploma or a GED that maybe did go to college or they did go and it wasn't for them. We have a trade school that we're starting here in Tampa that's going to impact the state tremendously over the next few years.
We're so honored that you announced that on the record, on the show. That's so exciting.
Yes, it is exciting.
That is so exciting. You know, I have to go back, though, to the two of you. I mean, modesty and humility aside, oh my gosh, I mean, how can the community be so blessed, honestly, to have people like you? That's a very hard question to answer. I'm like, that's you to pat yourself on the back.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. You know, we firmly believe that if you want to grow your business, you need to impact your community and you need to be involved. And so a lot of our growth has come because of, first of all, we saw a need and we found a way to fill it. But then all the connections that we have made in the community has helped us to, have the resources to grow and expand. There's always somebody that we can call and say, this is what we're doing. How can we do this? What can you suggest? We have a great support system.
It's so interesting that you say that too, because of course what you guys are doing, helping students, giving them a leg up, but to also refer to it as a business as well, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit, it is about connections and who you know.
Sure.
Absolutely, and our schools are nonprofits, and so we're and we appreciate the compliment, but we're
from
just
the bottom of my heart.
We're just two regular people that had a vision and had faith and had the courage to step out in faith and just trust God that everything was going to be okay.
I would say you guys are pretty extraordinary people, and I think people would agree with that.
Thank you. We were just awarded for the Brandon Chamber. Just had the Business Excellence Awards last week, and Livingstone Schools won for 2022 Business of the Year in our category of 21 and over employees. So we were super excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And speak to what that also means, that you're being recognized,
Being
right?
recognized, yes, absolutely.
And I think where we measure our success is in our re-enrollment. Mm-hmm. We have at all 4 of our locations almost 100% re-enrollment every year. And it speaks to the job of what we're doing in the classroom. Mm-hmm. Bernadette and I had a vision, but our principals that operate our schools and our teachers and our teachers' aides, they get all the credit. They're the ones working every day, pouring into these kids. The foundation of our school is love and acceptance.
Oh, I love that.
And so when we have these teachers that truly love these kids and pour into them, you can tour our school someday, and it's a formal invitation.
We would be honored. On the record, I would be very happy
to come into our schools, but you will sense the love when you walk through our hallways.
I would love to. It would be my honor. Now, for people who are watching the show and might be interested in enrollment or getting their children into the school, what is the next step for them?
Yeah, they can visit our website at livingstoneschools.org. There's an online inquiry form, and they fill that out.
There's also a virtual tour right on the front page of our website.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I personally follow up with every inquiry,
does.
and then we'll forward it to the appropriate campus to start the tour process and the application process.
So beyond the virtual tour, they could also be invited into the school once they get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll invite them in, and we'll do we'll meet the family. We'll do an assessment of the student, and it takes about an hour and a half to do our tours and assessments, because we want to make sure that we're going to be a service to the student, not a disservice.
Right.
And so if we don't feel we can meet the student's needs, we're going to recommend them out to some place that we feel that could.
You guys are both incredible. Is there anything that you would like to add that I did not ask you?
I think we covered a lot.
I hope I did. Yeah. I do want to say to the audience, though, the thing I love, and we talked about this before the show, is we will do the show based on recommendations from people in the community.
Yes.
So community members will reach out and say, hey, we would like to hear from the founders of Livingstone Schools and Academy. And we did get that request from Dottie Groover Skipper, who has been on the show. And so it's great to have you here.
Thank
you. If you guys want to suggest anyone, please let us know. Viewers, again, if you would like to suggest anyone, please let us know via email at production@redhousestreaming.com. Also, please share the show. We're on multiple social media platforms, and we're also on Roku right now. And at the very beginning, I said, we love sharing incredible stories from inspiring people, and not to get too preachy, right? But I think that's what we need right now.
Absolutely, yes.
We need the love. So,
Absolutely.
So spread it, please, on our behalf. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Thank you.